This is the morning sports desk for Monday, August 14th. Happy Monday to everyone, and especially a happy Monday to those high school athletes across central Minnesota as they get up this morning and get ready for practice. And some of them probably already are there in the locker rooms getting ready and head on out to the court or to the field or to wherever the heck cross-country kids practice, because fall sports doesn't officially begin on the schedule, but for the high school kids, fall sports has begun. They begin practice today. I know some schools like Bertha Hewitt had their football team practice a week early. So, not everybody quite is off on the same page, but pretty much everybody is off and running today across central Minnesota. So whether you play football, volleyball, or cross country, best of luck to all of the high school athletes and coaches and parents and fans and everybody involved. And kids, hate to say it, but we're one step closer to the next school year. I know. Makes me shudder as well. And I don't even have to go to school anymore. But the fun part was always getting started with high school sports. I remember myself at Bertha Hewitt. I mean, I didn't really play a ton. I was not a stud athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but it was still fun to get to have that first day of practice. It was like Christmas morning. Everybody's just kind of excited to be back out there. There's this sense of optimism because everybody, feels like this is going to be a year where they could really do something. And whether it's just, having a winning record or making a section tournament run or getting to state or doing whatever, it's really fun to get out there. And I remember football practices, my freshman through junior years of football is when you could do the classic 2-a-days, and we would just practice from 8 to noon. There'd be 2 practices stretched in there, one practice on defense, another one on offense. And you kind of spend those first 2 weeks really kind of getting right back into the swing of things. And then my senior year, they kind of tweaked the rules a little bit to give us more breaks in between practice and limit the contact and all that, just to keep everybody healthy. And that was interesting too. And that was a neat experience. But man, when you get started with the fall sports, it's crazy because you're not in school yet, but school kind of feels like has already started, and it's just a fun time. So congratulations to those athletes as they get ready, and best of luck throughout the season. And we got a special surprise coming up on the morning sports desk for all of you high school sports fans across central Minnesota. Don't worry, we got something planned just for you for the morning sports desk in the month of September. I don't want to tease it too much, but just want to let you know we got something coming. So keep listening around this time of day and anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is. We are also looking at some other new things like on YouTube as well. Wadena Radio, look it up there. We're figuring some stuff out on the morning sports desk. Me and Corey are, to try and get this thing as awesome as it can be, because we love just talking about the local sports around here, and are really, really excited to get to call games again. That's on its way, and to get to do all the things associated with high school sports. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. And I think I've pretty much talked about my excitement with that as much as I can. So now let's move on to some state sports today. The Twins are off, and then they play 2 games against Detroit, and then they're off again. But over the weekend, as we talked about on Friday on the morning sports desk, I said, the Twins lost 3 out of 4 against Detroit. And it was a bad series loss. Those games were ugly. The offense didn't show up at all. And I said, this team had a bad showing against Detroit, and watch them now take 2 out of 3 against a really good Philadelphia team on the road, because that's what this team does. And wouldn't you know it, the Twins took 2 out of 3 on the road in Philadelphia, behind 2 great starts from Pablo Lopez and Sonny Gray. Both of them pitched 6 shutout innings to guide the Twins to victory. The Twins won 8-1 on Saturday night, and then they also won 3-0 yesterday, which means that we can all say the line after Sonny Gray's great start in Philadelphia. It's always sunny in Philadelphia, like the show on FX with Danny DeVito. Yeah, all right. Certain people get that. Anyway, the Twins got a big series win, which helps out a lot for this team. They gain a game on Cleveland, who who lost 2 out of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays this weekend. So the Twins have a 4.5 game lead in the American League Central. If you look on certain websites like Baseball Reference and Fangraphs and some of these betting websites that kind of say, all right, well, based on the data, here's the percentage chance that you have to make the playoffs and to win your division. And for the Twins, it's equal because if the Twins don't win the Central, they don't make the playoffs. But the Twins have a 93% chance of making the playoffs as of this morning. So I'd say that they're pretty much a lock to make the to win the AL Central. Now, it's not a guarantee, but it'd take an even worse collapse than a season before. Because a year ago at this time, the Twins already lost first place and didn't get it back, or at least a sole share of first place, and were already on the kind of the big tailspin they were in the final 2 months of the season. The Twins are, weirdly enough, in better position than they were a year ago, and despite all of their struggles. And this kind of gets to my point about the Minnesota Twins, and that is, and I've said it before on this program, is give Pablo Lopez his flowers. Like, I get that he was traded for Luis Arraez. We can't ever talk about anything positive with this trade, but darn it, I'm going to talk about it again. The trade is fine. I'm not necessarily saying I love the trade or like I'm really glad Luis Arraez is gone. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is the Twins gave up a good player in Arraez to get not just a good pitcher in Pablo Lopez, but he is a number 1 starter. He is an ace. He is a good pitcher on this Twins team. Now, is he like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander? Like, again, breaking it down in terms of quarterbacks, is Kirk Cousins a top 5 quarterback in the league? No. But is he a fairly capable and competent starting quarterback that more often than not can win you football games? Yeah. So, and I think Pablo Lopez falls in that kind of camp and honestly could be better. Pablo Lopez, again, as we talked about, is 3rd in all of baseball in strikeouts. He's 2nd in the American League in strikeouts. He's top 10 in the American League in innings pitched through the season. He's been an ace. And Sonny Gray, despite his struggles, still has been pitching well. And then you have Kenta Maeda, who's also been throwing well. And guys, if the Twins make the playoffs, I understand this team has not won a playoff game, let alone a playoff series, the Twins haven't won a playoff game since I was in the 1st grade. The last time the Twins won a playoff series was 21 years ago. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet. So I understand there's a lot of frustration of like, what does the regular season matter? So what if they win a pathetic AL Central? If they don't win in the playoffs, what's the point? And I get that. And you're not wrong to think that. But the Twins pitchers of Pablo Lopez, Kenta Maeda, and Sonny Gray if the Twins make the playoffs, they're going to play in the wild card series, which is a 3-game. It's a best of 3 series. So the Twins would have to win 2 games. They're all at home, and it'd likely be against the Toronto Blue Jays. I would take the Twins pitching. Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, and Kenta Maeda will put the Twins in a position to win all 3 of those games. Now, does the offense step up? Sure, that's a valid question. But make no mistake about it, the Twins have the pitching to make a deep playoff run. And that's not even counting Bailey Ober or Joe Ryan, who both have had successes this season, despite kind of the last few weeks. So the Twins playoffs, pitching-wise, is certainly really good. And when you look at the offense, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you got to hope that Max Kepler stays hot. You got to hope Carlos Correa can turn it on in the postseason. Maybe Byron Buxton comes back healthy and turns the season around, or maybe Buxton doesn't come back and the Twins can use the DH spot for a guy like Ryan Jeffers, who's been mashing the ball lately and leads all catchers in baseball in on-base plus slugging since the All-Star break. That guy's been mashing the baseball. Whatever. You just got to hope some guys get hot in the postseason, but look, if the Twins, despite their lackluster record and how topsy-turvy they've been, if the Twins can break the playoff loss streak and maybe even win a playoff series and they just lose in the ALDS right away, that's fine. I consider it a success, and the franchise can move on past the playoff losing streak, which I think would be a big win, all things considered. Also, the St. Paul Saints honored Darryl Strawberry over the weekend. So that was pretty cool. They had Bill Murray in town to honor the former St. Paul Saint because, of course, in between his time between the Mets and the Yankees, Darryl Strawberry played very briefly for the St. Paul Saints when they were an independent league team. So they honored him and retired his number over the weekend in St. Paul. My brother got to go to the game, actually, and he said that place was packed to get to see him and Bill Murray and do all that kind of stuff. All right, well, one last thing I want to conclude the morning sports desk on for today is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Clear blue waves create a new Lakes theme for the 2023 Minnesota Timberwolves City Connect jersey. So every single year, the Wolves kind of have a rotating alternate jersey because Nike wants to make that sweet, sweet uniform money. And some of them have been really cool. Some of them haven't been. There's been like gray ones that just say Wolves across the front. That doesn't look very cool. There was one that said MSP for Minneapolis St. Paul. Those ones were fine, but they weren't super cool. The Prince jerseys are just 10 out of 10. The old throwbacks with the trees, the black ones, say Timberwolves across the front, 10 out of 10. Wouldn't change a thing about them. But now, you also had a few clunkers in there, like the last year's one where it was talking about art, and it just was like blue, yellow, and red with Minnesota across the front. Those ones didn't look good. But this year, the Wolves will have a Lakes-themed city jersey, and they unveiled it yesterday in Lake Minnetonka. Nas Reed and Mike Conley were there, and apparently this rapper whose name is Young Gravy, I guess, was also there unveiling it. And they basically, it looks like water. I don't know what other way to explain it over the radio, but it looks like water. The jerseys look like water, and I don't know how I feel about them because I heard it was going to be Lakes themed, and on an NBA jersey, it's kind of weird. And they talk about summer lake life when the NBA is over the winter, which is also kind of weird. So, I mean, I don't know. The jerseys will grow on me, but I think they're certainly better than last year's. And when they wear these new Lakes jerseys, they are going to be with a new court. So the Wolves will have an alternate court when they do that, which will also be pretty cool. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Go look up a picture on the Timberwolves Facebook page or Twitter page or Instagram page or wherever. You can go see those uniforms. They're kind of cool. I'm not sure how they'll look during a game, but the one takeaway is it's still weird to see an Anthony Edwards jersey where he's number 5. That'll take some getting used to, but hey, the guy's been hooping for Team USA in the international tournament right now. So go Anthony Edwards. Let's go. This has been the Morning Sports Desk for Monday, August 14th. More to come on KWAD after this.
Whether you're buying or building in this great community or surrounding area,